Hi everyone, today we're going to brew with the Hario V60. Okay, so if you don't know what a Hario V60 is, it's a pour-over brewer. They're very inexpensive. This one here only costs $25 and it came with the filters, a measuring spoon which you don't need, the cone filter which is made of ceramic, and a carafe. So it's a very inexpensive setup and it makes excellent coffee. If you really want a clean cup of coffee, this is the brewer for you. Now, a couple other things I suggest you have when you brew with the Hario brewer. One is a brew scale because it makes it much easier and you can get much more consistent results. Fresh SteffenMarkkus coffee, and then you need some sort of water boiler or tea kettle. Okay, so that's all you really need to get started. The first step is you get your filter out and you put it in the cone into the brewer itself. Now, the reason we do this first is what we're going to do is we're going to wet down the filter with hot water. And the reason we're going to do that is we want to warm up the brewer and we want to warm up the carafe. If you don't pre-warm these things up with hot water, you're going to end up with cold coffee. So you don't want that. So let's go ahead and warm up the brewer, and once we're done with this, then what we'll do is we'll dispense with the hot water and get ready to brew. Okay, now the second step is to get your grinds. Okay, now this is a medium roast, so I'm going to grind my coffee medium. If this was a light roast, I'd probably go with medium fine. But the way you dose a brewer like this is by weight. Okay, so you need a brew scale like this with a timer built in, preferably. You don't have to have a timer, but use a brew scale. So what you're going to do is measure out 10 grams per serving. Each serving is 150 milliliters or 150 grams on the scale. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make out 2 servings, which would be 300 milliliters or 300 grams. So for that, I need 20 grams of coffee. Remember, it's 10 grams per serving. We're going to make 2 servings. So that's 20 grams we're going to measure out. Okay, so don't forget you have to pour out the water before you get brewing. You know, that hot water you put in here to get started. Okay, so I went ahead and ground up 20 grams of coffee. This is a medium grind because this is a medium roast coffee. This is our new Pitalito Peaks coffee. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is pour the grinds into the brewer with the filter. And then what you want to do is make a little divot in the center to allow the water to kind of pile up in the center. Okay, now we're ready to brew. Okay, so now we're going to start pouring. Okay, the first step in getting started with this is we have to zero out the scale. So the scale is zeroed out. And then we want to do the whole brew process in about a minute, 15 minute and a half. Okay. So the first step in the pour over process is to just wet the grounds. So what we'll do is we'll initially wet the grounds. That's with about 50 grams of water, just enough to wet the whole thing and make the grounds bubble. And then we'll stir it a little bit up to get the water to move around inside the grounds. Then at 45 seconds. We'll pour 3/4 of the water, and then we'll wait till about 1 minute, 15 seconds, and then what we'll do is pour the remaining water. The total amount of water we're going to pour through this is 300 grams because we have 20 grams of coffee. Okay, so here we go. So first up here, we'll get the timer started and the scale zeroed out. And we're just going to go ahead and wet the ground just enough to wet all the grounds. Just a little bit. And I just put only about 50 grams of water in there. Okay? I'm going to stir it just a little bit here, just a little shake. And what that'll do is it'll make sure all the grounds in there get wet. But we only put just a little water in there to wet all the grounds. And what that does is it prevents channeling through various paths through the coffee. Once we wet all the grounds, when we pour the remaining water, all the water will go through all the grounds. Okay, we're at 45 seconds. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pour 3/4 of the water through. We just go in a circular motion. Okay, we got about 3/4 of the water in there. Then at minute 15 seconds, I'll pour the remaining amount in. So here we go. Here we go, and here is the rest. Okay, and we're going to get it right at 300 grams, maybe a little over. There we go. Okay, there you go. It's that simple. So once this finishes dripping through, we'll go ahead and give it a taste. Okay, so it's all done. Now you could give it a little stir as it's brewing, but we didn't do that this time. Okay, so let's give it a try. Move the scale out of the way. And you can see it's a nice clean cup. Look at that. Nice clean cup of coffee. And this is our newest Petalito Peaks. Oh boy, it tastes apple and cherry. Ooh, that's so good. This is a really good coffee, both light and medium roasts. So in a minute or two, you can have a great tasting cup of coffee with a very simple brewer. And as I mentioned before, we have a new coffee here on our site called Petalito Peaks. It's a great coffee for pour-overs. All right, have a great day.